Thinking of buying a BMW E39 it's a dream machine. The V8. The look. The presence. But it's not without its traps. In these though, we'll walk through the 5 most common issues you're likely to face, what to look for before purchase, how to prevent them, and how much they cost in the USA and UK. I've owned a few. Let's dive in. Probably the most notorious issue on the E39 540 is the timing chain guide and tensioner failure, especially on the M62 V8 engines. Over time, the plastic guides wear or crack, the tensioners lose strength, and the chain can slack, causing rough idle, rattling on startup, or in worse cases, catastrophic engine damage. Forum owners often flag this as the biggest risk. In addition, the Vanos variable camshaft timing units can leak or fail, and oil control parts, such as the oil separator venting, are also common weak points. What to look for before purchase. Listen for a rattle or knock on cold start that quiets as engine warms. Check service records. Has timing guide chain work been done? Inspect oil service history. Neglected oil changes accelerate guide. Where remove valve cover S to visually inspect chain slack, if possible. Preventative maintenance. If you'll buy it, consider replacing all timing guides. Tensioners. Use fresh, high-quality oil with correct specifications, and change it more frequently than cheap OEM spec. Regularly service the Vanos units and seals to prevent leaks. Typical cost range USA and UK. In the USA, a full timing chain guide tensioner service can run $2,000 to $5,000 plus parts and labor. In the UK, a similar job might cost £1,500, £3,500, depending on workshop and parts. Replacing a failing Vanos unit or doing oil control parts might run in the hundreds to low thousands in both markets. Another major area of failure is the cooling system. E39 540 is relatively known to suffer from leaks, failed water pumps, cracked radiators, especially at the top, where hoses attach, and failed expansion tanks. Plastic components degrade with heat. If neglected, overheating can cause head gasket issues, or worse. What to catch during a pre-purchase inspection. Look for coolant stains or wetness under the car in the engine bay. Check the expansion tank and plastic hose connections for cracks. Inspect radiator upper-lower tanks for blistering or swelling. Run the engine and see if the temperature climbs abnormally or the heater is inconsistent. Preventative maintenance. Replace the water pump, radiator, expansion tank, hoses, and thermostat as a kit, ideally before they fail. Use a good quality coolant and flush every 2 to 4 years, or as per local climate. Replace any plastic components preemptively, especially on older cars. Typical costs USA/UK. In the USA, a cooling system overhaul pump radiator. Hoses could run $800 to $2,500, depending on parts and labor. In the UK, similar work might cost £500, £1,800, depending on which parts are replaced and where. Given the E39's age, suspension wear is expected. The 540 often suffers bushings that crack, worn control arms, ball joints, subframe bushings, and thrust arms. As this wear handling degrades, alignment drifts, and noises appear. What to check before purchase. Jack up each corner and test for play in wheels grab and wiggle. Check undercarriage for torn, broken bushings. Examine subframe areas for cracking or fatigue. Ask if these parts have ever been replaced. Preventative maintenance. Replace soft bushings control arms, trailing arms, subframe with upgraded materials, for example, polyurethane or quality OEM, before they deteriorate. Used alignment specs frequently. Use quality shocks, struts, and replace as a matched set. Typical cost, USA, UK, US. Depending how much is replaced, $600 to $2,000 plus for bushings control arms. Ball joints, UK, £400 to £1,500, depending on parts, labor, and quality. Electrical quirks tend to crop up in older BMWs for the E39 540. Common issues include faulty sensors, oxygen sensors, MAF, cam crank position sensors, de-ice valve failures, pixel fading, instrument cluster issues, window regulators, and broken interior trim or handles. To disvalve intake manifold flap is known to fail and can cause performance issues or rough running. What to check before purchase: turn on all electrics, lights, HVAC, windows, radio, etc. Check the instrument cluster for faded pixels or malfunctions. Scan for engine codes OBD to see if any sensors are reporting faults. Open the intake manifold if possible and inspect the DISA flap movement. Preventative maintenance: replace aging sensors proactively, especially if aftermarket or low quality. Clean sensors, MAF. Idle control regularly. Replace the DISA valve or its components when signs of trouble arise. Use high-quality wiring connectors. Avoid cheap splices. Typical cost: USA. UK sensor replacements often run $100 to $400 in the US per failing sensor. In the UK, similar sensor jobs might cost £80 to £300, depending on labor. DISA valve replacement might be a few £100s, including labor. Finally, oil leaks are extremely common on older V8 South, like the 540. Expect leakage from the valve cover gasket, oil filter housing gasket, rear mine seal, and other auxiliary gaskets. Seals: these leaks are often slow and progressive, but left unchecked, they can lead to low oil levels, engine damage, or messy engine bays. What to check before purchase: inspect the engine bay for wet oil marks, especially around valve covers, filter housing, and rear of engine. Look under the car for signs of oil drips or engine bay under tray stains. Smell of burning oil when driving indicates leakage onto hot surfaces. Look for past repair stickers or evidence that seals were replaced. Preventative maintenance: replace valve cover gaskets, oil filter housing gaskets, and related seals when doing major service. Use quality aftermarket or OE. Torque all bolts to spec and use proper seal. Monitor oil levels regularly and top off if needed. Typical cost: USA UK. In the US, fixing multiple leaks, valve covers, housing, etc. might run $300 to $1,500 plus, depending on parts and labor. In the UK, similar jobs might be £200 to £1,000, depending on workshop rates and parts. To put this all together, here's your checklist when shopping for an E39 540. 1. Cold start engine. Listen for chain rattle or knock. 2. Inspect cooling system components and run tests. 3. Check suspension play, bushings, and structural integrity. 4. Test all electrical systems and scan for codes. 5. Look carefully for oil leaks and signs of past seal work. 6. Request full maintenance history, oil changes, major engine or cooling system repairs. If possible, budget for proactive replacement of timing guides, cooling, and suspension parts when you get the car. If you go in armed with this knowledge, you'll greatly reduce the risk of surprise bills. Lastly, in terms of running costs, in the US, average yearly maintenance repairs for a well-cared for 540 is estimated to be a few hundred to a few $1,000s, depending on wear and major items. In the UK, similar logic applies, though parts labor rates vary, and classics or specialist shops may charge more. I truly enjoyed my ownership of a 2540 with the M package. I sold it with over 200,000 miles. I still miss it. Thanks for watching. If you liked this breakdown, hit like and subscribe, and drop any 540 specific comments down below. Do you own one? Am I off on any of these points? I'll see you next time with more in-depth automotive conversations.